Namaskaram. Good evening to all of you. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you on behalf of the Kupuswamy Sastry Research Institute for today evening's program. And we are thankful to you for joining and for those also who are going to join shortly. This talk has been arranged under the D. Ramakrishna Iyer Endowment, which was instituted by his son, respected Sri P.R. Krishnan. Presently in Chennai, he has settled down in Chennai in memory of his father. Sri Ramakrishna Iyer was well versed in Vedic tradition, himself practicing the recitation of Vedas and also Vedic Dharma in Chidambaram. And also he has taught many a student. He was a very highly respected traditional scholar, and Sri P.R. Krishnan inherited the same tradition from his father. Of course, his academic credentials are much to be mentioned, and he entered into altogether a different field, and he settled in Mumbai, but he never forgot the roots. And he is one of the most sought after person in the field of religious discourses. And the Kanchi Swamigal, Saraswati Swamigal, have always bestowed their blessings on him and asked him to continue to give discourses on different topics. And I make a special mention about his series of lectures on Sthala Puranas as well as Pushkaras. We celebrated the Tamilpurani Pushkara, and later there was Sindhu and then Tungabhadra, and he collected information from the available resources, and he explained to all the people in a very simple language. And later on, Periva has asked him to talk about various things from ancient literature, which he has been continuing week after week after week. And we are thankful to him for instituting this endowment in memory of his father. And he had also been a donor to the KSRI. Under his donation, we have just completed a project on the Vadavagni, or the submarine fire, and the book will be released soon, hopefully in the inaugural session of the 75th anniversary of our research institute. And also another project he has supported us is on the evolution of Earth from Puranas, both of which have been undertaken by Professor Parsardi, former professor of geography, presently one of the honorary professors at the Kupuswamy Sastry Research Institute. And we are thankful to Sri P.R. Kannan for his constant support to us. And today we are going to have another interesting talk on the flora that have been described in ancient Sanskrit literature, and there have been hundreds of them. And today we are going to have another respectable scholar, Dr. Premalatha, and who is no stranger to any of us here. She has been an ardent student of both Sanskrit and botany. And she has done quite a good job in both Sanskrit and botany. After securing her postgraduate degree in Sanskrit, she did her MPhil in yoga, her topic being a critical study of Amanaska Yoga, a rare text by Gorakshanatha, and her thesis was highly commended. Subsequently, it was published, and she took up PhD in the field of botany, and her thesis was on the Sthalavriksha's. And she had taken up more than 200 temples from different sources by personal visit, as well as from inscriptions, from printed text, from manuscripts, and so on. And she made a very good study of this material from available sources, starting from the Vedas, Puranas, Sthala Puranas, and so on. And also, her thesis is very interesting because it is from the perspective of botany, geology, sociology, religion, medicine, and so on. And it is one of the very important contributions in this field. And hopefully this will be published soon by her. And she has been also engaged in some projects on ancient Indian botany. And we are thankful to you, madam, for accepting our invitation to share your knowledge today. And just for your information, her book on the primer of ancient Indian plant science would be released by the Kupuswamy Sastry Research Institute shortly during the inauguration of the 75th anniversary. And once again, I welcome you all, and I hand over to Dr. Premalatha to continue with her talk on her topic today. Thank you very much.
Ma'am, unmute பண்ணிக்கோங்க, please. Please unmute.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. My topic today is conservation of flora in ancient India. And Gurubhyo Namaha, Namas Sabhaye, Sabhapati. Namaskarams to everyone. We have a way of life rather than a religion, and everything is structured in that way of life, including conservation. So we have a lot of ancient texts on biology, especially botany. The Puranas delineate the origin of life on earth in a systemic manner. Creation commences with a time frame after dissolution, after the great deluge or pralaya. So we have to start right from Srishti or creation, because the conservation starts even before the commencement of creation. Yes, that's true. Let's go into Srishti and find out how. Everything created re-enters from where it originated, the Parabrahman. And we have the Bhagavata Purana. All the Puranas talk about Srishti, and especially Bhagavata Purana states that during this deluge, the Pralaya, Lord Narayana withdraws the whole universe unto himself and remains asleep on Ananta. All the members of the flora also get merged with him. The re-emergence of Brahma from the Nabhi Kamalam or navel of Vishnu, the starting of creation with the primary creations ending with humans and a horde of other celestial creatures, form the crux of Srishti. And this is called the Naimatika Pralaya. And when universe re-emerges during Srishti, the Yuga starts, and then there is a new Brahma, and then the Pralaya, then the Yuga and Brahma, and so forth and so on. And what happens to all the flora? All the flora merge into Narayana and remains within Narayana, protected by Narayana. Then, after being safe inside him, it re-emerges when the Brahma starts the Srishti. So now just peek into the Srishti. Brahma is the creator. We all know that. And he came, actually, a lotus was created first, a member of the plant kingdom. We shouldn't forget that. And from Vishnu's Nabi Kamalam, the lotus stalk came out and then it bore a flower, and on the pericarp of the huge lotus, Brahma sat bewildered. What am I doing here? Why am I here? Then he did penance for 1,000 years. And next slide, please. And this is the 1,000 petal kamalam that is available now. But in those days, it was very, very huge. And then this is the lotus stem. And Brahma went back to Narayana through the lotus stem. We know why, because he knew about the lotus stem. It is made up of parenchyma, spongy cells, and it is hollow, and he can go inside without any hindrance. So Brahma knew botany. Then he came out, again sat on the pericarp and created the whole world. And now we know that it is the lotus which came first, even before the Srishti Kartra, the Brahma. So then in the other pralaya, the total annihilation, what happens is the entire world is filled with a sheet of water, and there stands a lonely tree, the banyan tree, again a member of the plant kingdom. And then Vatapatra Sai, Lord Krishna, is reclining on the leaf of a vata. Nations in the world, only then comes the animal kingdom. So we are the first to say this to the world. But then again, if we read the Puranas, we get some information about the churning of Ksheerasagara, and during that, everybody throws the plants into the sea and then churns it. And what happens? The Amrita comes out of it. So now we know that Amrita is also plant-based. So scientific truths are couched in mythology. And if we break the code, we'll know about the science behind every happening. And then when we look at the picture of the Ananta Shayana, shall we go back to Ananta Shayana, please? Now, there is an interesting mathematical symbol called infinity. And the mathematical symbol for infinity is Kahara. According to Bhaskaracharya, it is Ananta. It has 0 as the divisor. And if you put an outline of Ananta Shayana, it is nothing else but Ananta, because Srishti and deluge and Srishti and deluge go on, but it is Ananta. It is infinity. So when you look at the avatars also, we have the Matsya Kurma Varaha Nrsimha avatar. And when we look at the Kurma avatar, it is slightly different from the classification that we read in our science books in the school. But then this is very close to the real classification, because the turtles are herpetofauna. And it is actually not an amphibian, it's a reptile. So ancient Indian classification is definitely exceptional. Now the plants are all called Udbija, and they are all growing upwards, coming out of the soil. So, okay, now I'm going to transport you all to the Vedic era. So we are all there. Fasten your seat belts. Come with me to Vedic era. Now we are in Vedic era, in sylvan surroundings, beautiful hermitage and all that. Now, early before the sunrise, we have to get up, and we got up, and where is my brush? I want to brush my teeth. What are you talking? You are not in 2023. You are in a hermitage in the Vedic era. No, I still need my brush. Yes, they brush their teeth. Yes, they brush their teeth with brushes made organically. Every day one new brush, not the old brush again, contaminating. But this toothbrush is made from twigs that they pluck from the trees, and one part of the twig is pounded. It becomes like a brush with bristles. So they used to brush with the bristle part, holding it on the other side, and then they used to throw away the brush. No brushing, only once. After every meal, it is stipulated that you should brush your teeth, otherwise you are not clean. So I'm not saying this, but Varaha Mihira in Brihat Samhita says this, and now you can see the table of toothbrush trees, Danta Kashtaha, and everyone has an Ayurvedic purpose, not just physical, but psychological also. So like Bilva gives spiritual upliftment, and Kashmiri also gives a spiritual upliftment, and something else gives children and virtuous children, fortune, food, destruction of enemies, so many, charisma, and so on and so forth. So, so we have the twig toothbrush, and then we move on to the Yajna Bhumi to do our daily ritual, the Yajna. And the very fire for the Vedika or fire altar was produced by churning wooden pieces. It is also from plant world, Ashwatha and Shami tree. Ashwatha that was grown on Shami trees were used for this purpose. The upper portion was the Uttararani. Can we go to the next slide? Show them how it is churned. Yes, this is the way Agni Mantana happens, or churning of the fire happens. And Shami wood became the Adhararani, or the mother. So we can rightly call it the womb. And hence it has a synonym called Agni Garbha. And there are many legends about it, how the fire came and all that. So the Arani woods from Ashwatha and Shami are taken for the Yajna, for the Homa. And then they have other things around the Yajna Bhuvi, the Yupa or the stake. It's an integral part of Yajna. Trees were grown only for this purpose and grouped together for easy access apart from those found in the forest. There are timbers from Rajudala or Sleshmataka, Pitadaru, Bilva, Palasha, Kadira, and a few others. So the placement of timbers are also stipulated. Yupa trees were always grown with a lot of care. And then they offered tree twigs into the fire, various species of grasses and other ingredients such as cow ghee, milk, grains, and they were all offered to the fire in Yajna. The twigs and the other ingredients offered to the fire, the samids, also had a great significance. The 5 kinds of wood stipulated for offering are Ashwatha, Udumbara, Palahasha, Shami, and Vikankada. And Ashani Hatavricha, that is a tree struck by thunderbolt. And then we have the Soma. So, Soma, we are not very clear about the species because there are many stipulations. Some say it is a mushroom, and because it is called Somalatha, some say it is a creeper. So we really don't know till today. So other plants are Adara, and even grasses like Durva, Pakadruva, Trina, Ulupa, Kusha, that is Darban, Kasha, Shara, all these were thrown into the fire. The idma are bundles of sacrificial sticks that are offered, are all they are all kaparidi, and you find them in all the sutras and wood of Palasha, Vikankada, Kashmiriya, everything, Bilva, Kadira, Udumbara, they're all deemed sacred, and they are offered to the fire. And the implements that are used for offering, the key for preservation is usage. If something is used routinely without fail, it follows by virtue of habit that it is preserved. It is held with value and gets dignity, and so many species are protected by virtue of usage. And what is the real purpose behind yajnas? Is it because they didn't have anything else to do? They were just throwing some plants into the fire. Let's see why. Because each tree has a special attribute when burnt in fire. So the modern technology produces rain by a method called cloud seeding method. We have already been doing the cloud seeding method. Producing smoke has an important role to play in the rain producing technique of cloud seeding. The fumes emanating from yajna reach the skies with the smoke particles making the cloud seed. That is the cloud seed. We make the cloud seed with our yajna fire. These produce the rain clouds and helped in precipitation. This has been proven with the experiments by our researchers in India. Cloud seeding is done artificially since people have forgotten that daily yajna is very unfortunate. In a collective level, if you do yajna, there is no need for any artificial cloud seeding. Hence, they resort to artificial cloud seeding methods, which is not conducive to healthy cloud formation at all. It is not eco-friendly. More research has gone into this by various researchers and proven that yajnas can help in producing rains. So the second point is Dr. Nambudiri from Kerala has done a lot with his team of scientists, conducted an experiment with Adhiratra Yajna at Trishur. This is, you see the Yajna Vedika, falcon shape. And the detailed study revealed that the yajna had a profound effect on atmosphere, soil, and its microorganisms and other potential environmental effects. And they took cowpea, green gram, and Bengal gram, and they planted all these plants in the vicinity of the yajna and recorded their growth. They all had accelerated growth. The microbial activity was much diminished, and because of chanting of Vedas, hymns, the sound, that is the vibration from them, and continuous positive vibrations from them through their chanting, they accelerated the process of germination. So the different wood offerings have beneficial effects when inhaled by humans. We have the aromatherapy, where we know that it goes to the olfactory system, and the fumes are all inhaled, and it does a lot of benefits to the psyche as well as physically it is beneficial. And because you have the proof in the Bhopal radiation leak, I think you wouldn't have forgotten that. One family performed yajna, they escaped radiation, The others were all sick and hospitalized. The fumes had shielded the radioactive pollutants, and Darba, our Kusha, Darba is radioactive ray absorber and guards against radioactivity during eclipses. We use Sindil Kodi Samid for Kashti of the Purti. So that is also very beneficial. And it is Amritavalli Artinospora. And it's an immunity enhancer, fortifies the mental and physical health by inhalation of the fumes. It is also an ingredient of our Kafajura Kudinir. It's an ingredient there. If we had continued yajnas as our routine, as per this stipulation, you wouldn't be suffering of COVID. You wouldn't have lost so many people. So now we know that the productivity is increased, and that prevents the extinction of the species, right? And then we move on to the astrobotany. What is astrobotany? Astronomy and botany are contributory to one another. Astronomy is called Jyotisha Shastra, and it just doesn't have to do with horoscopes and matchmaking and all that. Goes beyond that. See, we are the ones who believed in 9 planets, and when others were believing in 7 planets, and calculate the precise time of the eclipse to the minute in our Panchangam almanacs. So how can we call our astronomy superstition? We can't do that. And Varaha Mihira, as I told before, he wrote Brihat Samhita and a host of other books. And a comprehensive text is Brihat Samhita about many botanical details. And it deals with many facets of astronomy with regard to plants. Of course, meteorology apart. The significant contribution of the text is agroeconomics. That's what we need. Varaha Mihira points out in Brihat Samhita the economic aspect of plant yield, enhancement of yield, prevention of failure of crops due to conditions like drought. So everything is predicted, how to circumvent them. If one species grows in abundance, the other species that lags in the market situation. And all these agroeconomics is in Brihat Samhita. If we follow that, our crops won't fail. And horticulture is very well developed in our ancient treatises. Upavana Vinoda is one such text written by one Sargadhara, and Brikshayurveda by Parashara, sage Parashara. We have information of storage of crops, preservation of seeds for the next season, pest control, and guarding them from natural disasters. So many topics are discussed. And they also discuss about the economic aspect, which will be the best seller in the market and how to enhance the market rates. And it is from the economic angle of the produce. So hence, just not science, but economics was behind this great science, Jyotisha. So all this work towards what? Preservation. And then we have structured already in our life are the festivals and all our vrathams. The way of life of Indians was later named as a religion, but actually it is very scientifically based. The mode of living comprised of a conglomeration of rituals, regimen, occasional activities, or routine activities. So yajnas are supposed to be routine, daily routine, which we fail to do. I'm sorry. The festivals fall under occasional activities. The entire society adhere to this with fervor. Every festival was celebrated according to the calendar or tithis stipulated. The movements of planets according to that. And it was not just random picking. And Flora took part in every festival in every possible way. They constituted the entire plant, flower, stem, and all the parts, ripe and unripe fruits, everything, roots and grasses, you name them, they had it. All members were included, right from embellishment of the premises to samagri, personal adornments, decoration of idols, food, everything. So for this, you need many varieties of plants, and everything was given importance because every vratam was arranged, taking consideration about these plant members. And they were mostly seasonal produce. And the Puranas, they have recorded so many vratas, a myriad of festivities of India. Sociologically, it benefited a cross-section of people having many trades and occupations. These activities of the society are constructed depending on the astronomical details of the transit of sun, moon, and other planets. Many festivals were named after them, like Arganga Saptami, Madhuka Tritiya, Ramba Tritiya, Kamala Saptami, Ashoka Ashtami, Ratha Saptami, Pushmanda Navami, and all that. And again, the names of plants like Kadali Vrita, Nimba Vrita, Shami Vrita, so many, lots of them. A cross-section of plenty of plants are utilized for a variety of purposes, as I told before. And when you look at Ratha Saptami, there is one hidden agenda. That is Vrindavana Dvadashi or Uddana Dvadashi Vrata. The Tulasi and Dhatri is grown next to each other and a wedding is celebrated for them. And how can you celebrate a wedding? What about grafting? Two other different members altogether, but you can graft them. So it clearly indicates grafting, mixing of two entirely different species is possible, is proved, and that is informed by these Vrata. It is pointed out every member is plentiful in the particular season, and they are all medicinal in purpose, and the entire year is covered according to the Indian calendar. So beautiful. And when we look at the horticultural activities that helped in conservation, we come across developing resistant varieties of plants, the proliferation of the species. They all knew, and this is the Chaturthi, where so many leaves are used, and even royalty worshipped Shami tree on Navaratri. And this is the Vrindavana Dvadashi that I talked about. And then, one proverb that comes to my mind is, Inam Inathai Kollum, Kadakuppai Natrathai Kollum. Natram here means scent, good smell. They knew that the plants have genetic code and proverbs were developed like that. It is dill weed or we use dill seeds also, as we call them. Fusidanium graveolens for your benefit. And the Sadakuppai will definitely pass on its aroma to its generation. Adana Sadakuppai natrathai kollum. Its generation of Sadakuppai will always be aromatic, in keeping with the trait of its ancestry, in keeping with its gene. So they knew, definitely knew genetics. And ancient botanists like Sage Parasara even divided the plants based on their propagation. So propagation through cuttings, grafting, developing hybrid varieties, techniques of grafting um, that you see in Vrikshayurveda and other texts, Upavana Vinoda and other texts. Every aspect is clearly discussed in ancient treatises. They all point out to preservation. The sages further experimented with colors, sizes, and taste of fruits and flowers and developed huge fruits and flowers, the same plant, different colors, different aromatic flowers and fruits with different tastes. The neem tree put forth fruits with sweet taste. Can you believe it? Sour taste became pleasant. The seeded varieties, now of course we have the seedless. And this was called Vichitri Karanam. In Upavana Vinoda, we see that so many techniques, huge bulbous roots, fruits, flowers, taking a different avatar altogether. And suppose you need a huge radish, looking like a big bucket. You do these things and you will get it, says the text. You can try, I haven't tried. So there is no chemical or gene manipulation. And meticulous about guarding the genetic codes, they never went into those things. No genetic engineering like scorpion gene into brinjal, my God. And many types of menus were introduced. There is this Kunapajala, which my grandchildren are using. They call it Kunapajala. And it is full of protein. It has all the protein things like, all the pulses, all the cooked food. And of course, I do not use meat. If people can use it, they can put all the meat cuttings into that. And then it is putrefied in a huge earthenware with pouring a lot of hot water. And then you get the best manure. You will get the best yield. And India has such a diversity of plants and a variety of habitats, from the snow-capped Himalayas to valleys, deserts, semi-deserts, dense jungles, lush grasslands. The topography is just stunning. And there are so many climates, so many environs. So before the city was built, considering all the environs, the waterways were constructed, the gardens were done, the reservoirs were digged, and lakes were planned meticulously before they even started the construction. That's what the ancient books convey. So town planning is one of the subjects that had immense scope of planting and afforestation. The best way. And we find when we read Kadambari, the beautiful description of Achyuta Saras, you feel like going there. And then all the temple groves in Puranas. So stunning. We now, I mean, everything is dwindled down, but it was there before. Many species were planted in a routine manner around man-made lakes, parks, and gardens. They had public parks and gardens for recreation for the citizens. And Upavana Vinoda gives accounts of how public parks were designed. They put peacocks and swans in the ponds and lilies, and so beautiful. And the author says, do you know why I told you put the peacocks, not just for decoration, ornamentation, but peacock, the call of the peacocks will scare away all the snakes, and there won't be any snakes lurking when the children are playing, you know. So everything was taken into consideration. When you feel thirsty, there were the tanks, there were the wells, and they had put Ayurveda herbs into the wells to make the water clear and potable. And there were niches where you can sit together and talk and have a lot of fun. And they had the caves and the bridges and whatnot. And so they were all done by the master craftsmen. Thus, the town had many public gardens where the populace rejoiced. All the species of plants were utilized and maintained. So it's a general opinion that these gardens were a gift from our invaders. Not at all. Then we have we have everything, food and shelter. Now we go to medicine, Ayurveda. Am I keeping time? Food and shelter apart, Ayurveda, the medicine, evolved as an Upaveda, and this is a medical science, and it has been given the status of Upaveda due to many reasons. Let's see why. When Sage Bharadwaja once asked his pupil to travel the world, find out, you come and tell me, after looking at all the flora, whether any one flora, if any one plant, single plant is useless. So the poor student went around and searched and came back, and he said, not a single plant is useless. Everything has some medical quality. So now hardcore botany, morphology was very well mastered for identification, and our lexicons like Amarakosha have myriad synonyms for one single plant, explaining all the qualities of the plant in the synonym, like Shatamuli, Saptaparna, 7 leaves, Ajashringi, Manduka Parni, like looking like a frog. The leaves will look like a frog, all four, those kind of things were all there, which are self-explanatory to describe the external feature of plants. So morphology was very well developed. So also taxonomy. So also all the other branches of biology from botany. The plants were classified in Ayurveda, plants were classified on the basis of medicines they produce. Renowned surgeons like Charaka and Sushruta had their classifications. Like, you have the AAA group, Harita Piyataki, Vibhitaki, and Amalaki. And, so that kind of what it is used for, and according to that, they were all grouped, and the plants were divided by the dietic value. The classification was done according to the dietic value, and there were 36 ganas under the group. Systemic grouping was done because they knew without a good knowledge of taxonomy, you can never group. You cannot do so many ganas, you cannot group them properly. So systemic grouping and identification, you'll have to identify them and group them. You cannot do them at random. Such a society with advanced knowledge of botany cannot let a single member become extinct due to neglect and misuse. It was never done. One noticeable aspect is that the plants were not judged on their appearance or anatomy of parts. You have the higher plants and the lower plants. Why higher and lower? every plant is on par with each other. The Indian taxonomy did not categorize the plant kingdom into higher, lower, no hierarchy for dicots. All plants were considered important, to the tallest tree to the insignificant trina, grass. Every member had its dignity and found a place appropriately in taxonomy. Then, okay, we are called superstitious. Okay, what about somebody is asking me, what about worshipping the snakes? Isn't that superstitious? Useless? Some ant hill, some snake will live there and you start worshipping it. Why? If you have an ant hill and you worship it along with a tree, the tree will not be cut down. Definitely. That is one small advantage. I tell you the big advantage. And then we come to the arid places where these ant hills develop. So according to the species of the tree and the direction of the ant hill, you can do water divination. So wherever you find an ant hill, you know there is water. That is a telltale sign of water. So under the train, there is water. So it is known as Dagargalam or Udaka Argalam. Argalam is bold. The presence of water has the bold that should be removed to retrieve water. The quality of water, the distance and the height at which it can be got is explained in the book of Varaha Mihira and Brihat Samhita. And if one finds for example, if one finds a jambu tree in a waterless tract, water can be found by digging 3 cubits north of it at a depth of 2 purushas. One purusha is 7 feet. In those days, men were very tall, I suppose. 7 feet is one purusha, 14 feet. And they also tell the quality of water. Water running in a vein eastward can be seen. And if you find ant hills in eastern side of the tree, there is bound to be sweet water at the same depth, but the digging should be done 3 cubits south of it. Then they also say that if there is a fish, depth of half a purusha, a pigeon colored pebble and a dark clayey soil can be seen. All these are for water. That's why they never uprooted an ant hill. Never take away an ant hill. So the ant hill helps in water divination, and the trees also, the leaves, the structure of leaves, the color of leaves, whether they are drooping, they are white, they are glossy, everything indicates water. It helps in water divination. So under the tree, what do you see under the tree near the lakes and all that? Vanni Marathadi Vinayagar. You can see small idols or sometimes Shivalinga. So realizing the value of plants, they understood their divinity and started respecting the huge trees. They exhibited their love and respect by garlanding them and decorating them. That is the tree worship. So, natural disasters were reduced to stumps. Yes, sir.
Just a minute, ma'am. I request all the participants to mute. Purnima, ma'am, I request you to please mute.
Yes. Shall we continue? Yes. They preserved the stumps. After many years, the tree deteriorated, and then stumps were remaining. So they were worshipping the tree for such a long time, and it was so beneficial, and so they started worshipping the stumps. So the researchers say that these stumps became the linga. Linga is a symbol. So it became the symbol of Shiva. They safeguarded it by smearing turmeric and binding it with a cloth. To give a canopy, a tree was planted behind it. Actually, in olden days, the elephants were tied to the stumps, and it was called kantu, and it was also called tari in Patinapale. So, kantu gave the transcendence of Shiva. So the wooden linga was later substituted with a stone linga and was called kandali. Kandali, kandu, ali, kandali. This in due course of time became the linga. So the linga worship was kandudai nilai. So we find that in Agananuru and Purananuru also. Let me read. Kondi Magalir Undurai Mulgi, Andi Mati and Nanda Vilakin, Malarani Medukameri Palartola, Wambalar Shekung Kandudai Pudi, Patinapale. Kandam Kaivida, Matat Kandin, Karundat, Kandattu Pura, all these are found in Agananuru. So we have the Kandu becoming the Linga, and the advent of Linga worship in Tamil Nadu is thus explained in all our texts. And then we go to Kanchi. When we go to Kanchi, we see the Stalavriksha, the mango tree in Ekambranatha temple at Kanchipuram. It is a tree with lot of marvels, and there are legends about the tree. And the stump, not the stump, the trunk has been preserved. And you can see the image of Ambal there, Kamakshi, hugging Shiva. You can see that. So then in Avadiyar Kovil, in Tamil Nadu, the Kurunda tree is in Sanctum Sanctorum. There is no other idol there. It is formless worship, and it looks like puzzled. It is the representation of Shiva, and worship is according to the tree directly at the Sanctum Sanctorum, reminding us of the ancient practice. And let's see the real Kurunda Maram. This is the Kurunda Maram Rutaceae, Atlantia monophylla. It is also called as Kottukulinji or lemon in Tamil. Then in Parakkalakotte near Pattukotte, Shiva is worshipped on a vata tree, represented by the vata tree. And a strange practice is followed. This alamaram is or the vata. It is worshipped during midnight after 12 on Mondays only. It's a very strange practice that is being conducted followed even till today. So no other ideal is there. So we know that trees are all worshipped and tree stumps are worshipped as well. And then when we come to the Stalavriksha worship, one can witness the zeal with which these Stalavrikshas, the trees in the precincts of the temples, are preserved with platform and Naga Pradishta and puja, and the cradles around them with cloths and turmeric and kumkum, garlands, with everything. Much fanfare. Thus, many important species were preserved due to their religious merit. On the periphery, it has the stigma of religion, but actually there is a scientific reason to it. Usually the lonely trees that are Stalavrikshas in the temple are the lone crusaders that survived the acts of the public. They must have been a part of a grove or a forest like Bilvastali, Shanbagaranya. When you look at the manuscripts, they all have Shanbagaranya Mahatmya. Udumbaravana Mahatmya, Vataranya Mahatmya. Everything is written like that. That means there must have been a grove of so many trees collected together, but now there is only one or two here and there. All have been cut down. So it has the religious sanctity, and that's why that poetry has been spared. So we have the Darbaranyam, Amravanam, Vataranya, all that. Apart from that, what is the spiritual merit that made the Sthala Vriksha so important? I will just tell you one Sthala Mahatmya story. There are so many stories, very interesting. We'll talk about it later on, but one I will share with you about Suryanath Kovil at Kumbhakonam, near Kumbhakonam. It is recorded as the Arkaranya Mahatmya, and the anecdote is very interesting. Tirumangalakudi and Suryanath Kovil are together, known as Arkaranya. Arka is Calotropis gigantea, the white variety, and you also have the colored variety, and that is Erik, and they are the Sthala Vriksha of both the temples. The Sthala Puranam starts with the Navagrahas removing the impending leprosy of sage Galava by the bones. So when they gave they removed Galava's leprosy, the Brahma was very angry. The irate Brahma cursed them. Since they interfered with karma, you have interfered with karma, you have no business to do that. So all of you will suffer from leprosy from now on. And no one has the authority to change one's karmic debts, even though they are Navagrahas, they couldn't do that. So in due course of time, they suffered from leprosy, and Brahma also added that he also said the parihara, they took pity on the Navagrahas and told the atonement. He ordained them to go to Arkaranyam and stay there during, you do penance there. Sage Agastya, who met them on the way, took pity on them. He ordained them to follow a regimen commencing from the first Sunday of Kartigai month. It was stipulated to be done for 12 consecutive Sundays. On Mondays, they should get up before sunrise, bathe in river Kaveri and propitiate Pranavarada and Mangalavarada at Tirumangalakudi. After this, within 7 Nadikas of sunrise, they should cook rice and place it on the Arka leaf, 1 fist full of rice mixed with curd. They were instructed to eat that rice. On other days, they were asked to fast. 78 days is the stipulated period, at the end of which the Vrata gets concluded. What happened? And okay, they all got cured. And let us see the scientific aspect behind that. See, you cannot eat Arka leaf at all. So only and you cannot eat a whole leaf, only Anupramana should be consumed. How can you take away Anupramana from a whole leaf? So minuscule of the essence of Arka leaf should be imbibed. That is the dosage. It is possible only if rice is kept on the leaf, hot rice, which absorbs the limited quantity of the essence. Curd helps in counteracting the ill effects of pungency of Arka. They did as guided by Agastya and got cured. So the Sthala Mahatmyas cannot be summarily disposed of as mythology. Arka plant, when we let's go to see the other variety species also. See, the Arka plant is a xerophyte, mostly in arid places, semi-desert and desert. Hence, it has the adaptation to store water in its leathery leaves. The leaves are thick, rough, and succulent. The sun is potent in desert areas and is absorbed by the leaf. That dosage is sufficient for the body. Curd protects the lining layer of mouth and intestinal tract. There is no other way to separate the Anupramana minuscule of Arka's essence from the fresh leaf. Due to fasting, the body is cleansed of impurities, and any medicine in empty stomach is absorbed quickly. and acts in full potency. That is why Ayurveda physicians stipulate that. One must take into account that Kaveri River collects a lot of herbs, especially in those days, as it flows, and the water in itself has medicinal value. This is the conglomeration of various beneficial factors. This is also in keeping with the Ayurveda system of treatment. Mantram and Aushadam both involved, and virulent, if it can cure virulent leprosy, and by sun rays, imbibing also along with the sun rays, one can surmise that other skin diseases, ailments can be cured. The milky exudation is very medicinal, and it is said to have anti-carcinogenic agents. And homeopathy also has a medicine of the leprosy from Arpa. I was told by a homeopath. And now we go back to astrobotany. So we can discuss about a few plants that are connected with the planets and the plants. It's a very vital connection. Planet, plants, and man on Earth, they become a divine triangle. Astronomy also plays a part in preserving quite a few trees, as the Navagrahas have their own trees substituted for them. There are temples for Navagraha trees. So 9 trees for 9 Navagrahas. You can see the chart. So Ketu has Kasha, Sivi, Darba, Guru Ashwata, Buddha Apamarva, Nayurve, Shani has Sirisha, Vagari, Surya has Arka, Supra has Vodambara, Ati, Rahu has Purva, and Angaraha has Kadira, and Shoma has Palasha. And they do, when it is tree, you can circumambulate, you can hug the tree, you can talk with the tree, you can pour all your sorrow and your jubilation, anything, any feelings you can pour to the tree. Actually, J.C. Bose has done immense work on the sentience of plants. It's already there in Shanti Parva Mahabharata. I'm not going to elaborate about it because it's a very vast topic. It is suffice to say that they all have vibrations. They can hear us. We can talk to them. We can communicate with them. Like you communicate to your relative or mother or friend or anybody. They can do that. They are capable of that. So Linga Purana also narrates the plant's role in working of the universe very clearly. The plant world following the order of the solar mandala, regulating all the activities on earth, the seasons, the propagation, the sustenance of plants, and the outcome, the plant. They become the planet substitute for planets, and then okay, the grahas are all propitiated, and with avahana and all that. Everything is according to the plants in the formless worship, and they have the yajnas, the same trees that are substituted. The summits are used, and they remove all the malefic effects of the respective grahas. We have so many do's and don'ts about all that. And we come to Vaishya Germany. The Ayurvedic, this is the Navagraha Vanam. We have one in our own Balajapete. The Navagraha homams are being done there. Let's see them. And we have the Rashi and the tree for all the 12 Rashis. And 12 trees are all here. And we have all the nakshastras and the 27 stars, and the 27 trees are all here. And the 8th Khandika of Keshava Paddhati and its commentary on Kaushika Sutram enumerates the various trees and the geographical reason about the Vaishajya money, the money that is tied to the hand by the Ayurveda physicians. And the Ayurveda physicians knew from which region, from which village, which tree is useful, which tree is the best. Very important. For example, Sirisha should be collected in Bhojpuri, Varuna in Anandpur, Ashmantaka in Bhragukuch. And so they knew the not just geography, but the availability of trees, and everything was tracked and everything was recorded. So all the physicians knew about the whole of India, geographical territories, and the plants that grew there. So it's a very big information. And 10 minutes. So I won't I won't elaborate on the position of the Vaidika Pradishta and Naga Pradishta of the plants. And because they are plants, they can face any direction because no dorsal, no ventral. So all these, advantages are there with the plant. You can go and hug the plant and say, I'm having this problem. Can you hear? Can you listen to me? Can you cure me? All this you can go do for the plant, for a tree, but you cannot do for the idol. So all these, advantages are there. And even in Tihar, for the inmates, they have these, because, so many things happen because so many psychological things, and you cannot, you will have to pity them. And the plan in the same, it is not new that the deities are personified as the planets are personified as plants, because Brahma Purana also has a proof, like King Priyambada making an Ashwamedha sacrifice, and then the Agni entered Shami tree, Vishnu saw the Ashwatha tree, Surya entered Arka plant, Shiva into Vata. All this point out that they all have planetary influences. And then all these these plants are all conserved and preserved because of so many reasons. And actually one information is suppose there is a birthday or something, they used to plant, suppose somebody is born on Ashwini star, they will plant the Yeti tree, because it is the tree for Ashwini, and Strychnos Nux vomica, and the very important medicine Nux vomica is derived from that. So don't ever say Eti Padital enna. What more can a tree give than a very valuable medicine like Nux vomica? And then the person born on Ashwini cannot have Nux vomica, meaning that a person born on that star cannot have the star tree as his medicine. So these are all few points that Ayurveda has. Then Dr. Sundarajan, an eminent botanist from Bangalore, shared an information about a research about wood, different types of wood, the burning capacity of wood. The experiment showed that some woods were more heat producing than other varieties of wood, and Shami is one of the very high heat varieties, and that's why it is Agni-garbha, and so that is why it is used in Arani. So even in summits, everything has to be calculated, and if you do any research, then you will stumble that whatever that is written in the Puranas is actually true. And So they have the Samhitas and the Puranas about Nakshatra and all that. I will skip all that due to time. And I skip the Nakshatras also, Rajanigunde and all that. So don't hew down any tree, any of these trees wants Nigandu. Dire consequences befall the person who resorts to hewing down these trees, especially that belongs to his asteroid. So, and if you plant and grow these trees, you will prosper. All the malefic effects will be prevented and removed once and for all. So then they had the government ordinance. Do I have 5 minutes? Dana and reward and punishment always go help because apart from religion, the government has to have its ordinance to prevent tree cutting. So if you see, you will be stunned that cutting trees with fruits or grass, you will have to give a gold coin. Nowadays, if you do that, you will become bankrupt, you know. So all these were there, and the kings enforced all these things to see that the trees are all intact and trees are never cut down or injured and all that. And then we come to the biodiversity management, so many books on that, and 45,000 species of plants in modern India, and the 15,000 species, 60% of them are endemic. And so there are cows and thorns in Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Andhra, Sri Venkateshwara, Sarana, Zahir of Chhattisgarh, Devrai, Devan of Goa, Banskati, Gujarat, Devan, Himachal Pradesh, and then Devaravana, Nagabana, Kavu, Bhutapana, Bana, all these khans in Karnataka. In Western Ghats, the Kavus in Kerala, Gumkap in Mohak in Manipur, Ummangali in Groves, Maumund bamboo reserves in Mizoram, Jahera, Tukama in Odisha. All these are sacred groves, and they were all preserved from yesteryear. Not now, because they are all there, because thank God they were all declared as sacred groves and puja was done to them. Please don't forget that. And so in around Chidambaram was Thillai Kananam, but where is Thillai? But maybe patch at Pichavaram, we have the best mangrove vegetation. Our mangoes at mangroves are very, they have specialized plants with pneumatophores, respiratory roots and all that. See how beautiful they are. They are all preserved. And so we still have the, and don't forget that it had a symbiotic life with the animals. And if our white tiger, one-horned rhino, and our girline, and all our special species only found in India have to be preserved. You will have to preserve all the forests. You cannot afford to cut down the forest. And they are all there. All the even though so many vanas sank, I remember that Skanda Purana has 69. I counted it. 69 vanas. Where are the vanas? But at least all the species are still living in India, and only very few are lost. Thank God to all the rituals that we did from day and number one. And Dr. Sundararajan, again, I'm quoting him, and he refuted Aryan migration theory because of Indian plants. And he said Indian plants can be seen only in India. They are endemic of India, pride of India. They are not to be seen in Central Asia. If they migrated, then it should be in Central Asia. Not even one tree is there. How can you say that they came from by Khyber Pass? It is such a difficult travel and very adverse weather. It's not possible to carry any single seed. So when we have all these endemic trees of India used in all our rituals and the Indus Valley civilization used them all, and we have proof. How can Aryan invasion be true? He questions. So we have the pride, our dignity, our identity is with our plants. So please, every one of you, plant a tree for your birthday, your wedding day, your Sadabhishekam, Shashti and look at Shraddha vegetable. Those are the vegetables we had. That milagai and all those things came later from our invaders, from foreigners. It was given to us. So that is one evidence. The Shraddha vegetables are evidence that it is indigenous to India. And so they have, with great difficulty, they have structured so many rituals and festivals, and the way they modeled their way of life in such a way that all the flora and fauna are protected. Please let us continue with that in our own small way and hand it over, not for us, but hand it over to our children, because our children need them. And for our future generation needs, because it is their identification, it is their pride. And if we protect our flora, they protect us always. Vriksho rakshati rakshitaha. Dhanyavadah.
Thank you, madam. And,
It was very interesting.
since originally I had the idea of inviting questions, I think we'll have a separate session for it. Remarks and a word of thanks.
Thank you, Balu. It had been a good research lecture. We started from the Vedic times till present days, in how many ways they have preserved, starting from the rituals, Naimitika, Nitya, and festivals, and through the cities to villages and the small towns to big cities, how they have preserved throughout India from the very early times to this time. You have given us a good picture of the entire flora that had been maintained in India. So many twigs, that is what we call as I've forgotten the term for it, Shuktu, Srava and other things. Vedic utensils were in wood, and Yupa was in wood. Like that, you have to shown us how well they used all the parts of the tree and plants in the yajnas. And so many things were offered into it. And how they preserved the environment and atmosphere because of these ingrained things poured into the Agni, how the atmosphere was purified, and how well we lived. That's one thing, one way. Another thing is that through the Upavana Vinoda, Vriksha Ayurveda, and Krishi Parasara texts, agricultural and botanical texts, you showed us how many varieties of learning had gone into that: taxonomy, morphology, anatomy, physiology of each tree and plant had been registered and recorded by them in detail. Actually, we both of us are now seeing through her project report for publication. I see it, really it is wonderful how well they have done it, how at each and every point, minute details they have taken care of and they have registered. It is really a sorry state that we are cut off from our roots for a long time, and we are now trying to pick up all those things. But unless and otherwise a person knows something different, like we scholars of coming from the Sanskrit lineage do not have the knowledge of the sciences, but those who have scientific knowledge, if they have Sanskrit knowledge also, we are able to produce something different, like what Premalatha has done now. It is a much needed effort that we have to carry out in these times to bring out what had been in our earlier texts. In one of the lectures, Mr. Sundararaj Gannapati or Somiyaji, he said in Yajurveda, for a particular yajna, they collect about 1178 plants for the use of that particular yajna. And as she pointed out, the Chela of Bharadwaja did not find any of the plants useless. None of the plants that we grow in India is ever useless. They are all useful. In one way or the other, they may be poisonous, but even that poison is needed to ward off the bad effects of another poison. So that is also very important. So we have to learn what is there in it. And in KSRI, one gentleman came and asked us to do a project on generalizing the Ayurvedic medicines throughout India, like the Westerners do. We said no, because our plants, our medicines are based on the soil and water in which they grow, and the potency is according to that. So each soil from Kerala to Himachala, it will be different. Each potency will be different. Each leaf will be having same plant, basil for instance, will have a different size of leaf, size of potency and everything. So we have the medicines will have different combinations, will not have the same combination. We said it is impossible. They were much more saner than us. We cannot work like the West, which has a common medicine for every person. Here, the medicine is given to each person according to their constitution. So that in the same way, the medicine is also prepared according to the environment and the soil and water in which the plant has grown. So there is so much science that has gone into every belief of India, every tradition of India, every custom that we are following, everything without the knowledge of which we are simply following it. And Premalatha's lecture has thrown some light on this. People have to work on it, and then we'll find out so many hidden information from many of them. Again, for instance, Dr. Raghavan, when he was writing about sports pastimes, he made a statement saying there is a reference to dohadas of trees, 8 types of dohadas. He said, I do not know whether there is any science behind it, but there seems to be some science behind it, both botanical, medical, and physics based. If we go into it, we are able to find out, but still Premalatha is working on it, Dr. Premalatha is working, but still we have not come to the full picture. When she finishes it, it will be open to the public. People will know how well the Indians had understood not only human beings, but the flora and fauna that grow with us, the animals that grow with us, and everything. It is a very, very, very interesting thing. And as Indians, we have to be proud of ourselves. Our ancients have done so much, and we have lost it. We will have to pick up the threads and then find everything, join them together, and give a very good future to the next generation. I wish, like Dr. Premalatha said, people should come up and work on all these things so that the future is secure for our next generation and generations to come. Thank you, Dr. Premalatha. I wish you all the best. We will meet once again. And today being, now it is almost 7:40. So I wish you all good night. We will wind up for the day. Thank you. And just a minute before closing, I'll have to thank Mr. P.R. Kannan. Though Dr. Balasubramaniam mentioned your name is Krishnan, no difference. We thank you, sir, for the endowment. And thank you for the encouragement that you are giving to us for continuing the projects and other things. Thank you.